Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us once again here on this Thursday. Today, I have a lovely guest. I have been working for her. I have been working with her for the last 3 months, and her name is Jan Luther, and she does EFT. And I'm gonna let her explain what EFT is and what it does with your subconscious mind and why it's so great. And I can attest to it because she's been doing it with me. So just yeah, I'll let her take over from now.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. EFT is emotional freedom techniques, and we also refer to it as tapping because we very gently tap on the same meridians that we use in acupuncture to help adjust the limbic system. And the reason that that's important is because when our subconscious mind is bringing up blocks, that anxiety, the fear, the worry about things, it's because our limbic system has gotten out of balance because our fight, flight, and freeze has somehow been triggered. So for your topic today, I thought this would be beautiful to just do one little round because what happens is I have an old paradigm that's playing in my subconscious mind, which is what you address with the hypnosis. And it's actually putting up a barrier around my ability to be able to go forward in starting a new business or ending a relationship or getting healthy or whatever the thing is that I want to do to uplevel my life. There's going to be this natural comfort zone around stepping out of that because it might be fear that I'll change, fear that I won't know how to do it or what's going to happen. So what I thought we might do today is if you just want to pick a couple of phrases or I can throw a few out and we can just model first the tapping points, the ones that I use, and then just model one or two rounds of how just being able to access the limbic system through these meridians and speak out what you're thinking and feeling can calm you down enough that you can get logical and inspired again. Sound good?
Yes, but can you explain to us what we're saying, why we're tapping, and why we're saying what we're saying, and how it builds up?
Absolutely. So the first thing we always want to do is we want to address what's real in the moment. So we might start with what's called a setup phrase, which is we're actually saying what my ego is thinking. Even though I want to, for example, let's do the tapping points first. That might be easier because people are like, what is this tapping thing? So the tapping points are basically we start with the side of the hand. And I do it in the palm of my hand just because that's the way I was shown to do it. So the side of the hand. And this is one of the key points to help reset that limbic system because it actually triggers the fight, flight, and freeze in the amygdala. So we'll start with a setup phrase like, even though I want to do this great next thing, you want to repeat?
Even though I want to do this great next thing,
It could be start a job, get in the relationship, whatever. There's also a part of me that's afraid.
there's also a part of me that's afraid.
So I call it two truths running.
So I have two truths running.
I want to, and I'm afraid to.
I want to, and I'm afraid to.
And I get all locked up and paralyzed in the fear.
And I get all locked up and paralyzed in the fear.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and honor all of these feelings.
love and honor all of these feelings.
And I want to release any strain right now.
And I want to release any strain right now.
Take a nice deep breath. Are you already noticing something? I can sense that you're already kind of, yeah.
Yes.
And we set up 3 times with this peculiar phraseology. So even though I'm feeling like I want to and I'm afraid to,
Even though I'm feeling like I want to, but I'm afraid to,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
recognize
recognize
that this is human.
that this is human.
Anytime we step outside of our familiar area,
Anytime we step outside our familiar area,
we're going to get that pushback from our internal systems.
we're going to get that pushback from our internal systems.
And I want all of my being to know I'm safe.
And I want all of my being to know that I'm safe.
Take a nice deep breath on that. There we go. And then we do a third one. Even though I'm feeling like I want to and I'm afraid to,
Even though I feel like I want to and I'm afraid to,
I'm noticing that the afraid to part is starting to dissipate.
I'm noticing that the afraid to part is starting to dissipate.
I'm starting to realize that whatever I'm afraid of,
I'm starting to realize that whatever I'm afraid of,
it's a story.
it's a story.
And it's keeping me captive.
And it's keeping me captive.
And I really want this yearning
And I really want this yearning
to up level,
to up level,
to be easy.
To be easy.
Take a deep breath. And then we tap some meridian points around the head and torso. So we start with the top of the head, releasing this fear of new things.
Releasing these fear of new things.
Then between the eyes. My whole life has been one new thing after another.
My whole life has been one new thing after another.
Side of the eyes. I wouldn't want to do grade school things. I'm not sure what you call them there. Grade school things every day of my life for the rest of my life.
I wouldn't want to do grade school things for every day for the rest of my life.
Under the eyes. Life is all about up-leveling.
Life is all about up-leveling.
Under the nose. There's a yearning in my heart to do something I've not done before.
There's a yearning in my heart to do something that I've not done before.
Under your chin. I want to listen to that yearning.
I want to listen to that yearning.
Then we do collarbones. And I don't worry too much about where you're at, just as long as you're right there around the collarbones. I want to release the anxiety and fear.
I want to release the anxiety and fear.
That are based on nothing in the present moment.
That are based on nothing in the present moment.
And keeping me from my beautiful future.
And keeping me from my beautiful future.
And we do a fun one under the armpit. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Woo! It's getting better because the sweaty's going down, right? Releasing the anxiety that my body had a moment ago.
Releasing the anxiety that my body had a moment ago.
Every time I try something new.
Every time I try something new.
I have to learn something new.
I have to learn something new.
Then I use the bottom of both rib cages, and I just do like this on the bottom of the ribs. Deep breath, releasing whatever's holding me back from up-leveling.
Releasing all that was holding me back from up-leveling.
Okay, so let's take a breath. So there are so many things that you'll be able to help your people with, because there are things like, it's uncharted territory. I've never been there before. I don't know how to do this. That's why a coach is so important. And why I think getting using hypnosis and something like that goes right to the subconscious is so important, because our logical mind is going to stay looping in all the problems and not really going down deep, which is what you do so beautifully to really get to where the solutions are, where the answers are. So EFT is just another way to kind of talk ourselves through the nonsense and get out of isolation, right? As we tend to, when we're doing this work, we kind of can start seeing the parts of us that are helpful and not so helpful. And for me, EFT works really well for that. So any particular phrase you want to tap? I know your time, we wanted to keep it kind of short, but tell me what you'd like to do.
I would just like to pick up on that fear that we have and just turn it into confidence. So just turning that into confidence, and that we can do it. We can up-level, or we have already.
Okay, so let's just do, and I always start with this just because there's always a little bit of those two truths running no matter what it is. Even so, I would invite your people to tune into how high is the fear now? Has it changed for you? Just the anxiety when we started with the phrases of I do and I don't. Did that shift? Did it soften?
Yeah. It shifted. Like it's more calm now.
Calm. So what would be the fear? Because it's helpful if we can find the specifics for you. What might be an example of I'm afraid to up-level because, and I'd have your people who are watching find their phrase. I'm afraid because.
It's find a phrase, but I hear from a lot of people, it's the fear of change, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of success. These are three fears that I find are often the case.
Okay, so let's see if we can shift that. So even though there's something in my heart that is pulling me forward.
Even though there's something in my heart that is pulling me forward.
And it's going to require change.
And it's going to require change.
I realize there must be something I want to get away from and change.
I realize there must be something I want to get away from and change.
So change is a good thing.
So change is a good thing.
It's not dangerous.
It's not dangerous.
It's the solution that I'm seeking.
It's the solution that I'm seeking.
I'm really ready to change and be out of whatever this old pattern is.
And I'm really ready to change and to get out of this old pattern.
Does that make sense? Is that landing for you? Are you seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a deep breath. So even though change requires me to step out into some unknown areas.
So even though change requires me to step out into some unknown areas.
And it might mean I'd be successful, heaven forbid.
Say it again.
And it might mean I get to be successful, heaven forbid.
And it might be that I get to be successful, heaven forbid.
I realize there are probably layers and layers of stories about fear of success.
I realized that there are probably layers and layers of stories about the fear of success.
And they're not my stories.
And they're not my stories.
They're the younger me.
They're the younger me.
Other lifetimes of me.
Other lifetimes of me.
My ancestors.
My ancestors.
It's not the present me that's so afraid.
It's not the present me that is so afraid.
And the unknown is the treasure hunt.
And the unknown is the treasure hunt.
And I'm really ready for some new adventures.
And I'm really ready for some new adventures.
So the image that Spirit just showed me is, I'm not a big horror flick kind of person, but like if you went to a scary Halloween type place, but you knew exactly what was going to happen each step of the way, you wouldn't want to go. If you'd heard a joke before, you wouldn't want to hear it 3 times, right? The adventure really awaits in that unknown space. So if we can turn that unknown fear into excitement, that would be my goal. So top of the head, I can rename this.
I can rename this.
And instead of feeling anxious or afraid,
and instead of feeling anxious or afraid,
between the eyes, I can tell myself this is excitement and anticipation.
I can tell myself this is excitement and anticipation.
So guys, imagine the people I'm going to meet.
Imagine the people I'm going to meet.
Under the eyes, imagine the impact on their lives.
Imagine the impact on their lives.
Under the nose, imagine the joy of being out of the troubles that I'm trying to get out of.
Imagine the joy of being out of the troubles that I'm trying to get out of.
Under your chin, I can call it fear or I can call it excitement.
I can call it fear or I can call it excitement.
Collarbone, what I know is.
What I know is.
Something in my heart is calling me forward.
Something in my heart is calling me forward.
Under the arm, I don't have to know all the answers today.
I don't have to know all the answers today.
Bottom of your head, it's just like any education, it's one step at a time.
Just like any education, it's one step at a time.
And whatever I'm trying to uplevel.
And whatever I'm trying to uplevel.
It's a staircase.
It's a staircase.
Yeah, take a deep breath. Relax those hands.
It was a really good round.
Insights? Excuse me, I'm picking up on your throat here. Any insights, any awarenesses, anything that feel like there needs to be one more for closure, or are we feeling like we got some?
Let me look into this real quick. Yeah, the next step would be like the confidence to take these next steps. So let's do another round with that.
And why wouldn't I be confident? What is the story in my ego
that I failed in the past, or that somebody failed in the past? All stories from other people or from myself that I'm hearing.
So, trusting my intuition, I want to go a little bit deeper. Failed or didn't have the support I needed? Failed or gave up too soon? I'm seeing that there's lots of, and again, this is work that you would do with your client, as you would help them really dig into what that is. So I know that I can't do all those levels at once, but for our tapping round, I think it might be helpful if you can intuit what might be most helpful for your people about trying to up-level, and what is the fear of failure?
The fear of failure, that they're not good enough yet to have the success.
Okay, so let's do that. On a scale of 0 to 10, let's intuit for them. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being, oh, that's totally stopping me. There's no way I can do this. How high do you think that might be for you or others?
I think at an 8.
Okay, so not good enough. And as always, as we do this work, we rely on our spiritual intuition. So even though I'm telling myself the story that I'm not good enough.
Even though I'm telling myself the story that I'm not good enough.
To do this up-leveling.
To do this up-leveling.
That would imply I'm good enough to stay in this crappy lower level.
That would imply that I'm good enough to stay at this crappy lower level.
And if I was good enough to stay at this crappy lower level, I wouldn't feel so dissatisfied.
And if I was good enough to stay at this lower level, I wouldn't be so dissatisfied.
So I must be better than this level.
So I must be better than this level.
More capable than this level.
More capable than this level.
Or I'd be satisfied.
Or I'd be satisfied.
So I'm telling my ego to hush up.
So I'm telling my ego to hush up.
No one can tell me that I'm good enough but me.
No one can tell me that I'm good enough but me.
I know where my heart is.
I know where my heart is.
I want to be helpful.
I want to be helpful.
I want to give results and impact.
I want to get results and impact.
I want people to have these outcomes that are mind-boggling.
I want people to have these outcomes that are mind-boggling.
And I mean that literally, because my ego will be fling.
And I mean that literally, because my ego will be
right? That's what we're doing for people. Yeah. I deeply and sincerely look forward to
I deeply and sincerely look forward to
proving my ego wrong.
proving my ego wrong.
I am enough in every way.
I am enough in every way.
Top of the head. I will learn the steps to be qualified.
I will learn the steps to be qualified.
I will figure out how to do it one step at a time.
I will figure out how to do it one step at a time.
Side of the eyes. The only way to fail is to do nothing.
The only way to fail is to do nothing.
Under the eyes. If I trip, I'll stand up again.
If I trip up, stand up again.
Under the nose. I will learn from those who've gone before me.
I will learn from those who've gone before me.
Under your chin. So the thing that keeps showing me that I want to, and this must be someone that's really in a desperate position, is what I'm feeling that's watching, is the real fear is, if this fails, I'm screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So don't do it alone.
Yes.
Find a coach that's the expert of the hole you've got. Get someone. I love the work you're doing, because when we find our why, when you find your real purpose and passion, that's the first step. It becomes your mission, not your job.
Yes.
Such a different thing. So let's come to collarbones. Releasing this idea.
Releasing this idea.
That there's only one chance.
That there's only one chance.
I have a million chances.
I have a million chances.
And the creative source that runs through me.
And the creative source that runs through me.
Has opportunities that I haven't even thought of yet.
Has opportunities that I haven't even thought of yet.
Under the arm. My real mission is to stay in touch with that part of me.
My real mission is to stay in touch with that part of me.
Then I need not be afraid of anything.
And I need not to be afraid of anything.
Out of the ribs. And we are designed as humans to connect and serve each other.
And we are designed as humans to connect and serve each other.
I don't have to do this alone.
I don't have to do this alone.
That would be the only way I could really fail.
That would be the only way I could really fail.
Okay, so let's take a breath. How's that feeling?
That felt right, because there's oftentimes when I think like, oh, I can do this alone, or, I can do this better on my own, or nobody else can do it like me, or I can just do this alone because I don't need anybody. I don't want to depend on anyone for help. But at the end of the day, like you said, us humans were designed just to be together and helping each other out, because nobody at the end of the day can do it on their own. No one.
Right. And that isolation will kill your ambition and your...
It will kill you. It will kill you.
Yeah, because we cannot... There's a lot we can learn, but even still, if I'm reading, I'm learning from someone else. I call it duct tape marketing, right? If I'm taking a little free piece here and a little free piece there, and I'm trying to make it, and I'm still going to have all these holes in there. It's really about finding the experts in the area. First of all, the skill and the tool that you want to use. And then in how to run a successful business, how to manage the mindset. I have different coaches all the time, like you're talking about here, is the more we can give and receive each other's gifts, it just starts multiplying the energy, and the synergy is amazing. So
exactly. And then when you're full, and because me and Jan, we talked about this earlier, but when you're full, you can actually give a lot more. Like when your cup is full, you can fill it into other people. But when your cup is like half full, how are you going to fill it into others? That's not going to happen.
Right. So when you circle back around to I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, on a scale 0 to 10, where does that feel now for you and the people that you had in mind when you were doing the start?
Personally, right now, it feels like a 0. I'm good enough.
More than.
More, exactly, yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
More than good enough.
Awesome. Helpful? Questions?
Yes, very, very helpful. Let me think of any questions that I have. Yeah, tell us about what you specialize in with EFT and how you got to do this work.
Okay. As all of us, it was part of my healing journey to find this, right? Is I had I started a long time ago with the healing of chiropractic, actually, that I had a son who had a challenge. And when I saw the magic of the body being able to heal itself when we got out of the way, it was like a straight stream for a long time. I learned Reiki. I started studying herbs. I started doing all these things. And when coaching came around about 20 some years ago and it started being the big thing, it was like this part of me, this yearning that I was talking about. I was actually tuning into that, remembering of feeling, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. But it wasn't until I found EFT, emotional freedom techniques, that it was like it all just clicked. And my expertise is grief and trauma, because those things freeze us. They paralyze us literally in a timeline. And we can't kind of carry that weight with us and be able to really be free to be helpful and to be intuitive with other people if we're carrying our own baggage. So my primary work is literally helping, especially women, because we have a lot of, can I say, unique to women traumas that we carry of this idea. I've never heard a man come to me and say, well, I just am not enough. It's just not something in the masculine energy. But women have been so repressed and suppressed that a lot of our lives and ancestors, right, we inherit all this too. We carry a lot of this emotional baggage. And every time there's a trauma or a loss or a change or something that we've totally felt powerless, it puts us in that invisible place where we just kind of shrink and it solidifies. It's like we begin to build this wall around us. So my goal is to help you take the wall down, tune into that sweet spirit that is who you are. And once you're liberated from all of that negative emotional energy, your cup just becomes this refilling thing on a moment by moment basis, because we're able to tune in. So I'm so grateful to get to do what I get to do. So
I know, and I can tell it every single time, like we work together. It's like, Jen, like she embodies EFT. She just loves it so much, and she gives out so much love. It's really beautiful to see her do the work that she loves.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Then thank you, Jen, for coming on here and showing us your expertise and showing us how we can work with the body and the mind at the same time to release subconscious beliefs. And thank you for telling us about EFT. And thank you for being on here. And yeah, it was great having you.
Awesome. I'm very honored to be here. And gosh, I hope this helps some people. Just even those little bitty tweaks sometimes can just skyrocket your success. So all these up levels, go Jennifer,
Yes.
good work.
And you can, what I just want to mention too is you can go back to this video here and you can redo the rounds that we did like 5 times, 10 times until your level of, maybe I'm not good enough or whatever is coming from down from a 10 to a 0. Just do them as often as you need to and follow this video and repeat it as often as you need to, and you're good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.